Okay, well, it's interesting when you contemplate all that you're trying to do. Things pop up. So you can see, with respect to working with the actual real files on your actual real WordPress server, that there's a lot of places where you can do that. Here we are showing the whole media library, and we'll pick a video in the library. Making a video of robot arm rotation number 37, 102 megabytes, 6 minutes, and we are proposing that to add a box here that you can click, and that box would say open the media folder management app, or open the WordPress server file manager, or modify these files at the level of your server. Anyway, some sort of a name here that would be a part of what we're proposing to do with the media, WP media folders app that we are thinking to change. And what I realized, let's take a look at that. So I've actually made it slightly different in that it has three parts. The first part is a display of what's actually on your server, your actual real WordPress server, and then a display of what you're suggesting to do. I've changed this a little bit so that when you put in changes that you have asked for up here, and it says click here to show these changes, or click here to show these changes and set up more. Whenever you add a change that you're proposing to do, it puts this little red dot down here, and that little red dot is an empty dot in the sense that there's no check marks in it. And down here I've got these three lines where you would take your mouse and you would put it on each of these dots, and you would click to put a little X in the dots that you want it to really do it to. This is basically a double approval system where you have to put in the changes that you want, and then you have to agree to them again. And if you're getting a little scared and you're not quite ready to do that, then you can click this box, click this box that would clear out everything you just approved, and you can start again. Or you can click this box and just approve it all. Your choice. And the final thing that happens after you get to this area and you get it all approved the way you want to, then you go down here and you approve it. And since this was a app that you pulled up at the level of this individual file, then when you pulled up this app at this point, my suggestion would be that the only file that would be shown for you to be able to modify would be the very file that you're working in. So none of these options would be available. The entirety of your uploads folder would be shown, but the only file that would be shown is the individual file that you're working on. So if we went back to the whole media library, then I would put a box down here or somewhere in here under media library, WP media library folders would be a box that says manage your WordPress media files at the server level. And what would happen is if you clicked it here where you're inside the media library page, then the display would be all of your media files. They would all be shown. In other words, the entirety of the uploads folder would be available, and if you clicked on a folder, it would pop up the files down here, and they would all be available for you to make a modification of them. But all that it would show would be the uploads folder and below, because that's where your media is. And you'll notice that as an informational issue, I put in a red star that says this is a media file that's unregistered somewhere in your media, and this purple star is this is a file that's in your media, but this file is not a media file. Okay, and now the last place where we can think about this program is when we're in this option of server import. And my suggestion on server import would be, again, to have a box here that you would click. And if you clicked this box on the server import area, then the display that is shown to you on this new program would be a display that would go would include all of uploads, which is where your media is, but it would also be able to go up this way into folders that are not media folders, because most likely what I discovered is trying to import large files into WordPress under the WordPress import system, you always get these HTTP errors that WordPress doesn't like. And I've had more success with importing large files if I import them as FTP into the server that is presenting WordPress. And then when you ask WordPress to work on them, it's working on them at the level of the server, not over the internet. And it just seems to work better. So that's why I like to bring them in as non-media files to a non-media folder outside of uploads, and then let WordPress or WP media folders pull them from being non-media files outside of the media folder into becoming media files in the media folder. And this is what allows you to move the files and folders around and rename files and folders, and you can again type a folder number here and change its name, or you can type a folder number here and add a subfolder. And again, it has all the safety issues in it that I thought should be there, which is all of the proposed changes are shown, and you can approve them, or you can approve all of them, or you can unapprove them all and start again. And it also will give you just an implication of how long it's going to take to do what you're proposing to do. And this would be the place where you would have a significant modification ability. And again, to restate this is a proposed plugin that lets you work with your actual real files on the actual real server where your WordPress site actually really exists. And I'm just hoping that if I can clearly state this, that the WP Media folks and Joom and WP Media folders people will look at it. Obviously, it's up on YouTube. So everyone who looks at this, if this is something you want, you go ahead and send a note to WP Media plugin or WP Media folders plugin and say, hey, I looked at this YouTube presentation and this would be wonderful. Why don't you guys do that? Or why don't you gals do that? Or why doesn't you who work there create this for us who need it? And again, thanks for watching, and we'll see what happens.